JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. January 23rd. 1 second here. I'll talk really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P futures in the red, right near the lows, down about 0.2%. After the last two sessions of rally. So we had the 2 p.m. tweet from POTUS around Greenland. We had that spike, and then markets continued the rally yesterday. SPY opened at 691, pretty much hit highs right away, and then dipped all the way down to 680, 692. Chopped around for the rest of the day, still closing the green, and we'll see what happens here today. Me, I would love to see a little flat open. We're going to get a red open, and then maybe reversal into the green and a slow melt to the upside. We'll see if we get that. Small caps, crazy story. To start the year, down 3 sessions so far this year, and up 9% year to date. So impressive stuff. I don't know how many years I've been talking about waiting for the small caps to take the baton. And same with the biotechs, right? Both of those sectors, well, the sector and then the small caps, and finally doing that. Who knows how long that lasts? Also this morning, first time silver over $100 and gold's 5,100, or at least close to it. So impressive stuff. You have especially folks who are a little more cautious around the economy and things like that, showing that that's signs that bad things are on the horizon. Maybe it's just years of maybe those, especially silver, has like a revaluing. It probably should have been trading higher than where it was over the last couple of years, and then finally, somewhere just a button gets pushed and boom. So anyway, all right. So that's overall markets. So the SPY, I keep talking about 686 being the key spot. We'll see if we get there. We got 686.92 yesterday. Under that, I don't know if I'll get put hedges right off the bat. 680 would be the big spot. So we got down there 679, 680 Wednesday before that tweet came out. So that'd be a key spot. The other thing to watch, the software names, right? I mean, I've been saying this for a while in regards to names like Wix, right? DocuSign. Some of these names have taken on the chin, not because of downgrades, because people are finally coming to realization that these businesses are going to get impacted from AI. And you take a look at the software ETF, and I don't know who posted this, one of those folks on FinTwit. Nice little chart here of these, the software ETF and how bad some of them are performing. I've been pretty bearish Adobe for a while. Unfortunately, I missed this leg to the downside, but is this opportunity? ServiceNow has a crazy pincher setting up on the chart. If these reverse at some point, some of the names might be some great opportunities. Me, I would love to do ServiceNow. Now actually reports earnings there next week, so could be interesting. All right, so that also next week earnings, right? So mega cap names, you have Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, Apple. And then we have the Fed. Fed's on Wednesday. The market's pricing like a 2% probability that the Fed's going to cut rates. So 98% probability Fed's going to cut rates. I was still on the side where I thought they were going to cut rates. Probably not. So the good thing is it's baked into the market, right? So if they don't cut rates, I don't think there'll be any crazy swings. And then on the flip side, if they do cut rates, wow, I mean, markets might take off. All right, that's overall markets. Quick and then yields, right? You want to see yields. Yields are actually lower here this morning, so hopefully that continues. All right, quick on individual names. Moderna. Gosh, if I keep doing this, I have something. Anyway, so I don't know if I'm going to trade this one today, but gapped higher at the open, over $50. It was just right when the bell rang, it was like $50 hanging there. All of a sudden, boom, took off, was 52. Didn't want to be in a spot where that reversed, so I locked more of the calls in for a couple 100%. And then once it started getting higher, I want to lock more of the weeklies, but I didn't want to miss out on further upside. So I went and got next week calls. Then I locked the last of the 52 strikes in for 600+%. And then I held those 60 calls into next week. Those got up to 50%, locked some of those in to cover some costs. And then it seemed like it stalled, right? I don't know if, to me, I look at the chart, I'm like, does this head to 60 next week? Is it 60 in a month? It's not a name that I've watched too much over the last couple of weeks, so I don't really have a good feel for it. So because of that, I locked the last of those calls in for next week just to lock the profits in. So nice trade. I'll keep it on watch just because if there's some follow through, it's a decent fundamental story, right? No debt, $6 billion in cash, $18 billion market cap. Great data in regards to the Merck phase 2 data they have. And then they have other possible catalysts. So maybe that trades 60, 70, 80 in the coming weeks. So I'll continue to have that one on watch. And then the trade desk. That was melting higher yesterday, slow and steady. Premiums weren't coming in the calls. And then finally at the end of the day, it went from like 36.50 all the way up to 36.90, almost hit 37. use the move to close some of my calls in for close to 100% to lock in the costs. And then I'll just hold the rest. It got downgraded this morning. It looks like Citizens Bank downgraded them from outperform to market perform. I don't see a price target. I mean, I don't know how you downgrade from outperform when it hasn't outperformed and then move it to perform. Like I mean, how much credibility can you give for that? But I don't know if that's why it's down 40 cents here this morning, but hopefully it shakes it off. I'll just continue to hold those. I have plenty of time. February 6 strikes. Intuitive Surgical, one of my favorite names. It's actually, I think, 2014's top 5 stock webinar was Intuitive Surgical, 2 splits ago. Great story. Always, I mean, it's had monster earnings. They just had the JP Morgan conference where they announced prelim numbers already. So it's sold off almost 15% since then. And then this morning, well, yesterday after the close, monster earnings. You have analysts out upgrading the stock, giving raising price targets. Could be a nice melt up trade today. So I'll be watching if it holds 530 or so. Might look to play for some upside. Also, you got to watch too because it has that gap from its earnings, the Q2 earnings. So if that doesn't hold, maybe that's a sign that more downside's coming. But I'm more biased to upside on Intuitive Surgical. So if market holds up, finds footing, could be a nice lotto today. So either looking for some calls played for a move to 560 today and/or strikes into next week. So that's Intuitive Surgical. Still waiting for NKLR to take off here. That 650 handle, it's like a rock, like a wall. And I think once that breaks, should be off to the races. I was talking about it yesterday. I mean, the energy story is just such a big story. So you have the whole, obviously you have the AI story, but this energy story, I still think it's in its early legs. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this get some FOMO. $7 breaks. I think that might be the tipping point. I mean, it did do that last week and then sold off. So if it holds 7, could be off to the races. Forgot to talk about Intel. Intel had a great earnings report. I mean, here's a name that's up pretty much 100% from 7 months ago. Has the backdrop of all those investments from the government, Nvidia. So because of that, you have to think what kind of report would make the stock rally. It's tough to figure a scenario unless it's a tremendous beat and raise. So their guidance was a little weak, and some of it's not a demand issue; it's a supply issue, right? So similar to what Micron had, and some reason SanDisk is running hard. Obviously, the raised memory prices as well. But I don't think that Intel. It's like I look at it and it's down in the pre-market. I don't think that's that big a deal. I don't know if I'm going to buy the dip, but that's that. I'm trying to think of some of the other names. Oh, Broadcom, right? It's down here at 317. Well, actually 319, just melting. Similar, you look at Oracle the last couple of days too. That it just seems like it's bleeding, and where's the bleeding stop? Does it stop? So I look at Broadcom. If the market gets weak, is it going to trade under 300? And I don't know why I don't have my chart here, but 320 is kind of like the flashpoint there, and it's under 320 here in the pre-market. So if it doesn't get over 320 today, it could be the sign that it's headed substantially lower, maybe 280. So despite being a monster name in a monster sector. So anyway, that's that. Let's have a great day. 4 minutes to open. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.